OTAN, Outreach and Technical Assistance Network.
Well, I thought it was going to be a good idea for you to actually see how I pull my presentation. I'm using one of those tech tools that I'm providing, and we're talking about it later on. But this is the platform called Canva. Some of you are going to be working with this specific piece with Toybi later on. But I just wanted to show you, what it looks like, everything it has. It's really very, there's all kinds of cool things in it, and I'm just gonna pull my latest the designs and just show you where to how to access that, because people need to know. I love presentations, and I know that having the right presentation. So obviously here I go home, and then my recent designs are all down here. You can see them below, and then this is TechEdge. This is the one I'm using, and I'm gonna share it via presentation. So if you see that has that option. So we're actually, this is not a PowerPoint. This is available on Canva. So we're gonna use Canva to do the presentation today. So that's how you access it. Can everybody see it okay? Yeah. Awesome. Yes. There you go. And before we get too deep into it, we're just gonna start with a little video. So let's move on to that. I'm gonna mute myself. All right, so we're gonna start with a quick introduction. So welcome again, everybody. It's good to see you all. My name is Omar Andrade. I am the Dean for the Corona Norco Adult School, and it's been amazing. The great work that we have compiled here for you, it really is the work of a whole staff in a school. So I wanna make sure that when you guys look at all those tools that we're gonna be providing, and a lot of the things I'm gonna be sharing, this is by no means stuff that I've done, but this is really putting together a lot of the work that many of our teams and different people that work for us have been so gracious and taking it on. So this has been a great year for challenges as a school administrator. It has been a great year for growth. And so technology has pushed us to, flex those muscles. And it is a pleasure for me to share this presentation with a great friend, somebody I work with side by side from teaching to administrating a school. So I introduce you guys to Toibi Rublaitis. If you guys don't know her, she's our principal, great tech person also. It is great to see you all here.
Thank you, Omar, for that introduction. Yes, I also wanted to just give a shout out to OTAN, because about 5-6 years ago, Branca, who's right here, it was my mentor and TMAC. And when we learn things from OTAN and through TMAC, we also know that we, in turn, share it forward. So that's why when TDLS came up, we thought we want to certainly share what we have learned, because there's always more people who are willing to learn more on what we do. So we are also part of, Corona Norco is also part of the Riverside About Students Consortium. And Omar, I'll let you go ahead, and I'm going to step out just a second because a school board member is calling me right now.
No problem, Toby. That's the benefit of being at work and doing a conference. And this is the stuff I'm talking about. More than ever, technology has become part of our educational avenue and what we do as an organization. So, this is a great thing to have. When you have a presentation and you be able to do it, we can definitely reach a broader audience. This is what I love, a lot of the components that we're going to share with you. Again, just keep the comments coming. If you have a question, put it in the chat. There'll be a time where we have discussion, and just know that this is kind of open. We're going to have some great tools for you, but I also would love to hear from all of you and some of the things that you might be doing already with some of these tools, because this is what I learned even from the time I enjoyed my first TDLS. It's about sharing, it's about coming together, it's about the network. So I do recommend, if you guys have a chance, put the email on the chat, because I want to copy and paste those emails. I want to have everything that I'm going to show you. If you need additional videos that we have created, little things, nicks and knacks that I have. Obviously, 90 minutes seems like a long time, but there's so much to share that I would love to send you those those specific tools, or maybe a PDF that works for us, really, anything, just put in the chat. That way we have your email. I don't want to miss anybody. And so let's get started. What have we learned with COVID, with a crisis, when you have half of your staff available, people are working from home, teachers are teaching from home. So the dynamic just change. So once everything changed, we discover, with any organization, we always had this issue, right? Communication has always been something that we continue to strive for, to work with. Even when we were here with all of us together, communication has been such a challenge at times, because you're talking about office, the front office staff, teachers, coordinators, administration, clerks. So all of us have to work together and stay connected. So it's been definitely enhanced during COVID. So some of the things we're going to talk about, or we're going to address, it's really online tools, right? What kinds of things are available? And some of these you already know. So, don't mind in sharing your own experience, because that's how we going to enrich this presentation. Social media ads. Toby has taken on that concept where I will create a little ad, or I will create a little video, something short, even a PDF, and then she'll put it out on social media platforms. And how do we keep that online presence? That has been also super important right now, because we don't have, people don't have access to our office, but staying current, putting, the latest links, any information, whether it's from winter break or coming back in spring. How do you keep that online presence, which has been more important than ever. Connectivity, definitely something we're going to talk about, because if people don't have access to your classrooms, to your learning opportunities, to all kinds of great things that you're doing at the school, we're going to have to figure out a way to bring all that information and take it to their homes. So connectivity is going to be an issue, having access to that. Automate forms, if you missed it, look out for Colin's presentation. It was before this one. Man, I know I've been working with that kid. I mean, he is amazing. He's one of the younger staff members that joined the team the last 2 years, and the stuff that he's doing with us is just amazing. So we are so lucky. And if you didn't get a chance to go to his presentation, there's so much to it. And just know that we are also looking into better ways or different ways to create that piece. And the digital meetings, obviously, here we are, right? All doing a conference from different places in California or out of the state, and we're all connected through Zoom. A year and a half ago, we didn't know what it was. Now you find out we need a comfortable chair, a good working environment, all kinds of things for digital meetings. So as a teacher, as an administrator, has become a new communication tool, something that we never really use. We didn't have like virtual meetings. Now we can. So I don't know if Toby's back, but I'm going to go to the next slide. I see that some people put in there in the chat. Okay, Toby's back. Awesome. Toby.
And I have Mary here with me.
Oh, great.
So our superintendent, Dr. Buenrostro, and Mary, our board member, were going to visit the campus today. And I said, hey, just come and join us. I'm going to take my visual background off so Mary can be more visible. There we go.
Good morning.
So I wanted to share with everybody that what we are really looking for and working towards is to give our students a good student experience. So basically, what can we do so that our students who are away from us, who are so used to coming to our campus and doing everything on the campus, be able to do from a distance? And so everything that we're doing here with a lens of how student experience can be easier and how we can keep them longer and get them to get the same things that they have always got on campus, even if it's virtually. So that's what the lens that we're going to look at today is through the lens of student experience.
Perfect. So yes, like Toby was saying, the student, that's the framework, right? That's how we're going to frame this presentation. How do we serve our students? So with that being said, we have to manage expectations, right? Some of the things that we have to become aware and we're going to be addressing here is the internet and devices, right? Has been more important than ever. That's something that it's like top tier, something that you have to address. As a school, what kind of online services do you offer? And I'm talking about the counseling, that has to be virtual. A lot of students are not able to come in. So what does that look like in this type of setting? Website accessibility. The website, and you're gonna hear me saying this time and time again, has become more important than ever, because this is the door. This is the keys to the castle. This is where people come to, and you're gonna see that in the presentation, to access information, to contact the school, to sign up for classes, all kinds of cool things. Everything's gonna start there, right? With the forms that we've created and some of those automations, we have learned that data has become so important. When a student signs up for any class, we're able to look at those forms and follow them along and see who's interested in what type of class, whether it's morning or night. And then if I need to talk to them via Zoom or have a counseling session, who's interested in those. Super important, adaptability and flexibility. That has been the norm. Right now, because things are still fluid, things are always changing, you have to know that your current presentation and your current Zoom orientation it might be obsolete tomorrow, right? Because everything keeps changing. So you have to have that awareness, and you have to know that it doesn't matter how, perfect things seemed yesterday. You have to be aware that that's going to be okay, because it's going to change and it's going to be updated, and it's just going to get better. So the student experience is the key thing that we want to make sure we have in mind. That's where we're going to go with this mindset as we talk about the other things in the slides. So let's go to the next one. All right.
Okay, yeah. So what I was going to say is that to get to all this, it took us years. It's not like something that happens overnight. We have been very fortunate at Corona Norco that we've had very good support from our district as well as our leadership. The leadership before us is what I mean to say. Like Jody's been there for a long time. And yes, that leadership had really talked about digital literacy and the foundational skills about 6-7 years ago. I was sent to TMAC from that whole perspective of capacity building. So about 10 years ago, or even about 6-7 years ago, our school started this whole thing about digital literacy and online safety for students. Then fortunately, we were also able to use those same resources and add more resources using the integrated education and technology, IELCE objectives. So every one of our students, every school year, goes through the IELC objective of digital literacy and online safety. And so that gives every student some idea of the use of digital and knowing what's out there. But when COVID hit, we had no choice. Everybody had to do this. So having students understand the importance of internet and the devices and how they all work together to give them what they need in this new virtual schooling is something that we were fortunate to have.
Yes. So like Toby was saying, we had the devices, we had the tools, we had to bring the literacy component together. And I know a lot of you might be familiar with the hierarchy, the hierarchy of needs. Like when people talk about, the needs were shelter and food and those kinds of things. As an educator, those are the basics. But this is something what we truly have found out this year more than ever, that the internet is no longer a luxury. This is a necessity. So because of that, keep that in mind and get the juices flowing as we continue with the presentation, because this piece has become more relevant to all of the work that we're doing. And unless we address this issue, you're not gonna get very far. So we were very lucky, like Toby said, that we had a digital component as far as the classes for the parents, and we had the internet and the tools necessary for the students to come into this type of environment. So this is just kind of food for thought, something I want you guys to keep in the back of your mind. Super important, more than ever.
So as we went online, there were a lot of things that we learned over the process, and I'm sure all of you have at your schools as well. Just handing out a device to the students was not enough. We have to make sure that they knew what they were doing with those devices, and they have their classes, how to access their classes. So a few of our tech team members are also in this session, and they have done some other sessions for OTAN as well as in this TDLS, as well as in the CAPE sessions as well in the past. So what we learned is that as we are distributing devices, it's important that we give students the time they need to get comfortable with those devices. And then we also, as you know, needed to test students on campus. And then a time came when we couldn't test students on campus. So then we had to get remote testing working. The classes went virtual. By virtual classes also, there again, the digital devices and getting handy with the devices that they have in hand was important. Remote testing is another one. Our school just went ahead on piloting whatever classes wanted us to pilot with, and having a heads up or getting to play with it a little bit more in a testing environment really helped our school get a little headway in the remote testing field. And then, of course, like Omar said, our counseling have all started being by Zoom. Even our counseling sessions that we used to be one-on-one in person have all converted into the counseling by video chat.
So all of these online resources that we're going to talk about started on the one-stop website. So your website, it's going to have to be the one tool that is super important, that is going to be the opening, the gateway to everything else. So my recommendation is your website needs to have the links, the updates, everything that you're going to channel, and all the different tools that we're going to share must, it should be through your website, because this is where most of our students have found that it was the easiest to sign up, to connect with teachers. So if your website is important, and it was important before, I think it's going to be just more important more than ever. So, and then the other piece is the navigation tools. A lot of the times the buttons and links and ads or any additional media needs to be on point. And what I mean is sometimes links were not there. Sometimes links went dead or they were not live, and we had to go back and check those forms. So having that in the back of your mind, as far as like, okay, we have the website set up, we have the links, but make sure that all the tools are working. So what's next is Canva. As we show you, Canva is a great tool that you're going to have a chance to utilize. And I'm curious if any of you have used Canva. You can just give me a thumbs up. Anybody here is familiar with that website, has created any type of ads or PDFs? Anybody at all? Yeah, so people are putting in the chat. Awesome. Perfect. And so thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. So yes, Canva is something that we're going to use, and that's going to be one of our break rooms. Okay, so one of our breakout sessions is and Toby's going to work with you on that. So keep that in mind. If you don't have a Canva account, I don't know, but honestly, it's a great tool. It's one of the best. If you get a chance to, I know Marcy might be here in the audience. She has done amazing presentations on how to use Canva. I'm just throwing it out there. You must, if you ever get a chance, sign up for one of those sessions with her. But you have to have an account. So don't buy anything yet because there's a free account. But definitely Canva is one thing that is on our list. So information, super important, right? You're gonna have to make sure that that's gonna be available on your website. The computer is gonna be the first point of contact for classes, teachers, staff, all of that. The second piece, which Toby is gonna talk a little bit about, is the social media platforms, ads, those kinds of things that reach out to students. And then I'm going to put all those resources and I'm going to try to connect them with the information and the social platforms. We're going to show you how all of these things can come together. How do you create an ad or a theme for maybe a PDF or something you're trying to market in one of your classes? And how do you put all those components together to reach out to your audience, in this case, to your community and your students? All right, Toby.
So yes, I'm sorry about going back and forth, but thank you for taking on. Yes, everything we do or we are sharing here, like Omar said earlier, has nothing to do with just one part. There are many different pieces that put together, come together as a school. So the tech team, we have an awesome tech team, and the tech team members are all people who are just so interested in technology, and they just love doing what they do, and they learn on their own. Google any trouble that they have, they find the answer by watching YouTube and then put them into practice. The fortunate thing that we have is that because we have a team that has been so passionate about technology and learned from DLAC. They were all members of the Digital Leadership Academy. When COVID hit and we had to go virtual, they took on the leadership in the school and helping all the teachers learn the different devices, different platforms. So each tech team member, there are 4 of them, each one had different specialties they're good at. So they chose to lead that section, and the teachers who wanted to learn whichever would be put on, could go to either any one of these. The other thing is the leaders themselves were took 5 teachers under their wings or 6 teachers under their wings. Same thing with our support staff. All that we're putting together, we have to run through the support staff, making sure they also know that. The other thing what we have really made sure is the staff also gets the training of what these new things are. For example, when we started Google Classrooms for all the ESL classes, all the staff members also, we had the front office staff PLCs where they were learning it through the Google Classroom. So at least they get an experience of what the students are learning or how they are managing or getting onto the Google platform. And similarly, just last month, all of our staff went through the equity conference through equity for all students, success for all students through equity. That was a CalPro one where they were all students in Moodle. So learning those different platforms, even just by participating. And then some of our teachers and staff got together to say they would like to be part of the testing team. And so, yes, we are technology, some of the tech team members, as well as some other teachers, formed the CASAS test remote testing team. So it's a band making together the music.
Awesome. So yes, so as we were sharing with you, this has been the work of different people, different teams all come together, and all in hopes of improving the student experience. It has been challenging, of course. It's been difficult at times, but I know you guys heard enough about us, and we've been chatting away for a while now, almost 30 minutes. And so what I wanted to open up some time to share some of the practices, share some of the things that you have done at your school to enhance the experience. So we're gonna open up the mics. I would love to see in the chat, Branka, if you can help us read through some of those. What are some of the things that you have done at your school that you know have been key to that enhancement to keep the students connected? What kinds of things you have done or you've seen done well at different schools that have continued to provide that opportunity for students to stay connected to the school? All right, so I'm just gonna mute myself for a second. And
so Stacy says that their counselor developed a Google Classroom, a virtual counseling office. Beatrice, I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly. They have weekly chats with students on how their week has been and if they have had any problems relating to class.
I have a segment in my Google Classroom where it's called motivation, and I upload images of motivating messages for my students, and sometimes I add figurative language there, and then that becomes the topic for discussion for the whole week, and they are trying to decode what is reading between the lines called. So I think that's a good one that I like to use.
Thank you for sharing that, Vijal. That sounds really interesting and motivating. And then maybe, I don't know, I've heard, to add to what you said, I heard about another school that did Monday, different topic for Monday. Monday is for motivation. Tuesday is for something starting with T, I forgot, and so on. And each day of the week, they
Taco Tuesday? Oh, sorry.
The week.
Yes, I guess by doing so, my students find it really interesting, and I even put things from social media, just images, and I delete the extra things. And so some short things like what are idioms and 5 examples of them with the image and the meaning. So I guess and then they respond in the message that, teacher, I love this. This is so great. So I think I really like that. Thank you.
Where do you teach, Bijal?
I teach at Santa Clara Adult Ed.
Nice.
Mhm.
Thank you. So I see Kevin also sharing something in the chat. Kevin, you're welcome to unmute and talk about it a little if you would like.
I apologize. You might hear my bird in the background here, but the professional development that we've had at Corona Norco as an educator has just been so wonderful, and all because the opportunities to learn with our other teachers of how do we now switch on a dime to becoming distance educators, and how do we teach our students to become distance learning students as well, was what that experience was invaluable. And in addition, and probably most importantly, having the device distribution systems was, I think that being able to give out MiFi hotspots as well as laptops, I think that was a game changer for our students and for equity purposes, especially.
Thank you for sharing, Kevin.
Anybody else? I know there's some other folks out there. Come on. What have you done to stay connected with your students as we find, more than ever, the challenges of keeping that human component of our classes? What kinds of things have you done? Challenges?
This is Will from Tustin Adult School. I think it's been the educating of ourselves amongst our staff. We've tried to do all kinds of different things by putting out a Google survey or a Google form to survey our students, then bring that conversation back into the classroom. So that way the teachers have an engagement point to say, this is what your classmates are saying about each other, because it's that sense of connection. But we've also found just the use of breakout rooms at times, just to let students be able to talk to each other for a few moments, just to get that sense of social back in, is also another good component. Our teachers have received a lot of feedback from that. And then our teachers also feeling that support, hearing Kevin talk about the experience with professional development. We took what was modeled by OTAN with these office hours, and we started integrating, especially for the beginning of the semester as things shifted for us. We had a weekly office hour that staff just got to come in and get to share or ask questions, which I think was also inviting and allowed that sense of collaboration that then reflects back into the classroom as well.
Great. No, definitely allowing those conversations to happen, because we're all struggling. There's a level of comfort that we all like as educators, and opening the opportunity to share that, plus what you mentioned as far as surveying and having forms like that, super important, because we need to hear what's happening out there. How do we continue to help the students, and how how things have changed so much. It gives everybody the opportunity to give somebody else add in the chat. Yeah, you can turn on your mic.
Have mentioned the importance of giving students the time to speak freely, and that's exactly why even on this session we purposefully added this 10 minutes to, hey, let's just talk and get people to talk about what they're doing instead of just being a presentation. And we appreciated OTAN made this a 90-minute one. Usually when you have a 90-minute presentation, you wonder, what are we going to do with all that time? But I think in this mode of learning that and sharing that we're doing, it becomes quite critical, and not just rush through everything, but go slow and get the discussion flowing a little bit.
Yeah, and definitely, I know that Marcy was mentioning in the chat. She was saying about the students. Let me just go back into the chat. Across the board, all the teachers have mentioned the importance of giving students the time to speak. Definitely, what Toby was saying, allowing students to take ownership of the classrooms. The learning has been, we used to hold learning, you know, we were the teachers, the holding of the knowledge. We are the ones that, you know, that contain this great wealth of knowledge. Now it's shared. Now students have come up with different, they help each other. They allow, you know, for us to learn from their own experiences and things that might be pretty simple and like, oh, you know, I explained that. It's a no-brainer. Then you realize that you have to fine tune it and give additional, you know, support for those things. I love it. Let's see what else. ESL, this is Ms. Rodriguez, ESL department, separate Zoom links, registrations, registration help. Yes, they're getting support. Yes, it has increased retention. As a matter of fact, and I'm not gonna bore you with data because it really is not my thing. But one of the things we found out recently is those hybrid classes or those classes where the teacher has modules and very specific and clearly delineated opportunities for students to stay connected have retained the most students. Those teachers that feel successful in an online environment have students that feel successful on an online environment. And we've seen that from people that feel just better prepared, more engaged, and we've seen it across the programs. So it's so true, so true. I know Toby was excited to see those numbers when we were looking at how do students get retained and who gets to retain them. But that connection piece and giving students a voice, definitely. Anything else? We're running close to a minute, but thank you for those key ideas. That was awesome to hear from you. And don't be afraid to take them to the next level. Continue to push the envelope. Continue to address those issues. How do we bring equity? How do we bring access to all with the limitations that we have, right? So I'm just gonna move forward. If we don't have anything else to the chat, we'll save a few seconds here. So after all of that, after putting the frame and developing what are we gonna address and how do we, we mentioned a couple of tools. This is the chance you get to bring it all together, right? I'm gonna share some of the tools that I'm familiar with, and then Toby is gonna bring in some really cool ones that she has done specifically. So I'm gonna break it down a little bit just so you guys know some of these. Anybody familiar with Padlet? Just show me thumbs up. Yes, Padlet. Nothing I use myself. I think I created one or two, but some teachers here and some people have done. Yes, Kevin is cheering. Yes, Kevin definitely the Padlet king. If you want to connect with him, everything Padlet. He is definitely an advocate for Padlet. Great tool. They use it in high school diploma, and the students get access to. It's one place where they can get access to all those things. I put the Corona Norco adult school logo, but that's just representing the website, okay? This is where all the students go to, and I'm gonna keep pushing that envelope because one place where you can find everything, it should be your website. That's the way it has been working for us, and we highly recommend it. YouTube channel, if you don't have a YouTube channel, we have a few videos there, but man, it's been great. A lot of students like to see those. So definitely consider having a YouTube channel. I'm going to talk a little bit about Powtoon, but that's going to be in the breakout. So I'm not going to spoil many of the surprises, but you're going to get a feel for it. You got a little bit of a video at the beginning. Obviously, Canva is something important. Toby is going to work with you in those. And then you have Google Classroom, Zoom. Here we are, right? We are Zoom folks now. Microsoft Teams, great for many sharing information among staff, working together in multiple projects. And something new that we tried when we didn't have access to all of our staff is you can book me. I like the fact that the students were able to book an appointment with me to meet with me, and then that went directly into my Outlook calendar. So great things to have. So let's move on to the next group of tools.
So we have all been quite used to Google Suite, and there's so much to do with Google Suites. And also we at our district, we have been very fortunate that you have an account, you log into My CNUST portal, and you get both Office 365 and Suite. And Office 365, we all know, we've been using it for so many, all the Microsoft applications. One thing that we learned that was very, very helpful was through Microsoft Office 365, you have the OneDrive, and through the OneDrive, whatever document you save in different folders, you can share with a whole team. So as administrators and educators, there are so many things that, like I said, at our school, we don't do, one person doesn't do just one thing. We all wear so many hats. And whatever we're doing, if we can share it with the whole team, and every person in the team can have access to it, it is so much easier, especially when half of us have to work from home sometimes and the other half from the campus. So we discovered this when we went remote in March, April, May. So it was right before graduation. And so during graduation, leading up to the graduation, we had to plan a drive-through graduation. And so as we were doing that, we were only 2 people on the campus, the others were working from home. But when we had everything in the OneDrive and shared through the OneDrive, it was so much easier for us to collaborate and work together. So there are so many more tools in the Office 365 that we're learning. And just today, this morning, earlier, the session right before this, one of our staff members, Colin Cordial, presented an Automate, and that too goes through the Office 365. So what we did with that is through the Office 365 is where we get the Microsoft Forms as well. So there's your the forms over there. So after the graduation, then we had to start opening the schools and to register students. In the past, they were all used to coming on campus and filling out a form, but now that option was not there anymore. So what happened is we put the sign up. Everybody or everything that we did went straight to the sign up form, and we used bit.ly link to put it on all of the social media channels that we have, and everything went to the sign up form. But the sign up form was housed in our on our website. Like Omar said earlier, the website was the key to everything else. So when students called or through all these social media ads that we put in, everything, we put a little bit of a bit.ly link that goes straight to the Microsoft Forms. And the forms, it's amazing what this did for us. Is like, you can track every student that wanted to sign up with us. We had their names, phone numbers, their address, their contact number, email. So that's how we were able to then sort out the forms and say, this is for the ESL coordinator, this is for the ABE coordinator, this is for the CTE coordinator. And then the coordinators then could send out the Zoom links to the students. And the students were invited to the Zoom orientations, and that led on to then being tested and placed in the classes. And what we learned is that we could automate everything. So we didn't even have to send the invite to students directly. As they were filling out the form, when they submitted, they got a link right away that said, hey, your Zoom link is right here, join us on so-and-so date. And then through Automate, you can also send them a reminder just before the date of the orientation. That has really helped us as administrators a lot. The other thing that I wanted to share with all of you is that in the past, we had spent a lot of funds making postcards and sending it through the mail. It costed us quite a bit, but the return on the investment, we were not very sure it was as much. But when we started using Facebook ads, it's so much cheaper, and you can really see how many hits you've had and how many really came to you. So we started putting some Facebook ads, and I think I must have spent only $125 this year. And through that $125, if the good thing about doing the Facebook ad is whatever you're putting, if you have an account where you're linking all of these, the Twitter, the Instagram, and Facebook, not the LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is not so much for our type of students, for our students so much, it's more for professionals, so I don't do that. But using these three with the Facebook ads, we've had about 1,600 students linked up to our forums, interested in our forums. And you can really track how many students really came to you through those systems. And with the other thing about the student experience that we talked about, through the forums, when they get a link directly to them saying, hey, you've signed up, thank you for signing up, here's your Zoom link, join us this day, it makes the students' life so much easier, and they feel like, okay, they got my registration, I'm ready for my Zoom sessions. This is just the beginning part of how our students come to us. Beyond that, there's a lot of other things we do that give students the experience of being served. So that's what I wanted to share. One more thing I wanted to add is when COVID hit and we were like, how do I reach all the teachers all the time? We're sending emails to teachers for every little thing, but all the teachers do not read their emails every day. That's because our teachers are all part-time. Our teachers just work 2 days a week. The other days they don't. So when they go to their emails, they've got so many emails, they have to parse through it to be able to read the most critical emails. So what we started doing is I got a subscription on S'mores. It's a newsletter publication template. It's got everything in it. You can even link YouTubes and upload a PDF or pictures and everything on this S'mores newsletter platform. And I've started doing 2 times a week newsletter for all staff. So they have everything in one place. They don't have to go to find their email. And now it's gone down to once a month, but that's another very good platform that we could use as administrators, not only for teachers, but we were also thinking of starting it up for our students as well. And every teacher could also have one of those. Move on. Thank you, Omar. Move on. It's okay. Good.
Perfect. So, so with that being said, we're obviously a lot of tools, a lot of things that you can use to enhance the student's experience, right? You can use these things so you can have students meet, get the information, go to the website, and then what we're gonna show you is 2 quick videos. So it's gonna be a little bit of a break. One for the one that I did through Canva, and we put it in Facebook, and the other one is a Powtoon, and that way you're gonna be able to create your own ad. So I'm just gonna show you what this one is through Canva. I'm gonna show you what that looks like. And let me know if the sound works. You guys can hear it, yes? Sorry. Hi. So that was our Canva. Oh wow! Look at us. Awesome. Awesome to welcome. So that was one of our ads that we put in, and this was created with Canva. So if you want to create an ad, you're gonna have your chance to do that. And the second piece, here's a quick video that we created for students when we were launching the device distribution. And this is something that was through Powtoons. I'm going to be working with Powtoons. Toby is going to take the group that's going to be working on Canva. And so that's coming soon. We're getting close to that time where you get your hands on. So I'm just going to share, sorry, that video. Let's see here. Perfect. All right. Yes, and then that's from my YouTube channel. So here's the 2 gifts out of all the tools we gave you. 2 websites, the canva.com. If you don't have an account, you can get a free account, amazing. And Powtoons. Those are the 2 tools we're gonna talk about right now, and that's where we're gonna focus. So we're gonna work together in small groups. We're gonna have 2 breakout rooms. Toby's gonna take one, I'm gonna take the other, and we're gonna see, how it works. We're gonna dive into it. And if, of course, you like those videos, I'll send them to you. The best part about it is you can edit, change things, put your school name. Trust me, a lot of these look amazing, but they look amazing because they're already done for you. You just have to put your own personal information. I'm not gonna take credit. Trust me. Both of these were already set up either on Canva or on Powtoons. I just put in our information and they look amazing. I did add the music though, so I can take credit for that. So let's stop waiting. Let's get creative. I use a lot of stickers. People use stickers now. So this is a way we're gonna get started. And so here's a hands-on activity. We're gonna have, you're gonna create an ad. That's the goal. We're gonna use either Canva or Powtoon. And each of us are gonna take a small group. And if we have time, even if it's not complete, guys, breathe. It's okay if it's not complete. We're gonna bring back some kind of product. I would love to have something to share for the last few minutes, okay? And I think for this activity, we have 20 minutes. So we're right on time because that will be about minute 80 for us. There's a video also on how to create a Powtoon and the account. And there's also a screenshot on how to create a sign up for Canva. But let me go back one. So let's do our activity. I do have a document for us to sign up. So let's just figure out who's gonna go where, and then I'll take one group with Powtoons, and Toby will take the other group. And Branca, if you can help us set that up, let's have fun. We're gonna learn from this. This is gonna be different. I haven't done that on a group setting like that, but I think it's gonna work. And we're gonna come up with something cool to share when we come back. So what do we learn today? There's many challenges to try to do this when you're not on site, but I just want you guys to go for it and try it. You'll be surprised. I will share my videos. You don't have to worry about that. But I was able to put a little something together. I had I had to find the buttons while presenting. And so I never really done this. It's like having people watching over you, which is interesting because even when you do it before, you're like, oh, I could do it. And you do it quietly. When you're talking through the process is a little interesting. So having somebody help, definitely. Thank you, Christina, for your help. And I don't know, Toby, do you have one that you guys created? Were you able to complete one? Go ahead. Audio, if you can turn it on.
Sorry, I am
Yes.
very good with unmuting myself, huh? So Bijal has already created one. If she's allowed to share that.
All right, let's see.
Okay, let's see. So can you guys see my screen? Okay, this is a preview of tomorrow. Please come to my presentation, everyone. I just made a Canva. And I'm very excited, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna stop this.
Awesome. You're awesome.
Oh my goodness.
What are you presenting on tomorrow? I'm certainly coming to your section.
Yeah, I'm presenting on videos to use videos in the classroom. So yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
You're
So I'm gonna
cool.
stop sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to share what they created today?
All right. So what I did is I was just showing them how to put the pieces together. I wasn't very successful because there were some buttons that were not working, that were not doing what I wanted to. But what I did was able to use one that I had already and kind of paste some things. So we wanted to get a concept of motivation behind this little video. But the best part about it is, and this is the homework, this is the teacher in me, please make sure you create a login and create an account and share it with us. I want you to get into it. So I'm just going to share real quick what we created. I created for the group. Let me put it from the beginning. So the idea was to get people motivated and positive. So there's no music yet. I took Never Give Up, You Can Do It. Just keep people cheering them on. Here you can have a message like connect with your teacher and your friends, stay in school type of thing. Don't forget to smile. And the last piece will be just bringing it all together to, the whole idea of not quitting, not giving up. So talk to your friends, connect with your teacher, and then boom. So it didn't, it's surprising that 20 minutes is not long enough, right? But definitely, I want to encourage everybody to do it. I learned by getting on there. And don't worry, I'm going to send my videos and sharing with you guys so everybody has a chance to learn from one another. And I would love to see your own that you can create. There's definitely pro versions. Don't buy anything yet. Get comfortable with the free version, and then you might consider it. Okay. So thank you for playing the game. Thank you for trying. Super, super different when you're not together. But we were able to. I love what you guys created in Canva. I hope everybody gets to share. And if you guys didn't get my email, we'll share those too. So that way you guys can share it with us, share what you create. Great way to stay connected with the students. So let me continue. I think we're pretty close to the end of our presentation. We had one more slide, right, Toby? Just thanking everybody, but we're getting close to the end.
Yeah, we just want to thank you for joining us and learning with us. Together, we all do better.